Disney and Lucasfilm are currently focused on Star Wars Episode 9, the final installment of the Skywalker saga by writer and director J.J. Abrams, but also the new Star Wars Trilogy, also known as the Fourth Trilogy, by the creators of Game of Thrones, David Benioff and D.B. Weiss. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, what's really exciting to me about these set of Star Wars movies by the creators of Game of Thrones is that what Disney wants to do is they really want to create a set of Star Wars films that are going to pretty much be attractive to the hardcore fan base within the Star Wars community. Even Emilia Clarke, who portrayed the character of Kira in Solo: A Star Wars Story, has said before in the past that these movies are basically going to be Star Wars on acid. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more, not just about Star Wars Episode 9 and the future of this franchise, but also the fourth Star Wars trilogy. And what's really exciting about Disney and Lucasfilm is that they do have a plan in place where they are using these three movies as a way to incorporate as much Legends and EU material into live-action Star Wars films as possible. So everything that you guys love about the EU and the Legends material, a lot of that is actually going to be incorporated into this new Star Wars trilogy. Now, where does this lead us? Is this going to be like the Old Republic era, or is it going to be something completely different? We're not quite sure about all of this. What we do know about this trilogy, though, these set of Star Wars films, is that we will be learning more about it at Star Wars Celebration on April 11th. So we may get a title of the overall trilogy or the set of Star Wars films on that date, but what's really exciting to me is how these movies are actually going to incorporate a lot of Legends and EU material. Now, I don't know about you guys if you grew up in the 90s, early 2000s, but if you did, you really do know a lot of the Legends material, I'm sure, when it comes to the Old Republic, when it comes to other stories as well, that are actually fitted into the overall Star Wars franchise. And that's exactly what Disney and Lucasfilm are actually trying to do with these new movies by David Benioff and D.B. Weiss, is they're using it as a conduit, in a sense, in order to insert as much Legends material as possible. Now, I don't know about you guys, but it seems as though that when Disney bought Lucasfilm back in, I believe it was 2012, that's when the EU was wiped clean, right? It was just completely deleted, basically. Yes, they cherry-picked, some parts here and there for, Solo and, of course, Episode 7 and 8 and Rogue One. We can see some of the Legend material that actually carried on over. But now for these movies, they're actually going to be taking it to the next level, where they're going to be throwing in as much Legends content as possible in order to really have this movie cater to the hardcore fans. Now, is this a risk, or is this a real, pretty much great move by Disney and Lucasfilm? I personally think it's a great move. I don't think it's much of a risk at all, because as long as they stay true, right? That's the key thing here. As long as they stay true to the Legend material and the EU content of Star Wars, then and only then I think that the fans won't have a major issue with it all. And that's the great thing about all of this, is that their big plan is to unalter it as much as possible. So whatever timeline they're actually basing this in, whether it's going to be the Old Republic or a certain time during the events of the prequels, or maybe sometime based within the original trilogy, for all we know, we're not quite sure what this new trilogy really is going to be about. We do know that they have been going through some changes here and there in order to bring some connections from the originals and the sequels into this new Star Wars trilogy. They want to actually make this set of Star Wars films actually connected to the Skywalker saga in some way, shape, or form. Does that necessarily mean that it's going to continue the Skywalker saga? No. What it means is they're trying to basically make it a part of the big picture here, where we have all 9 movies in the Skywalker saga. Then we have this new trilogy by the Game of Thrones guys, but it's going to have a bridge to the Skywalker saga, where Rian Johnson's trilogy is going to be something completely new and on its own, as if it's like, based in a different galaxy. That's the kind of new that Rian Johnson is aiming to do. Imagine it like that. So if we look at everything with Episode 9, we do know that they're almost done with this project when it comes to filming. Then this summer is when they begin actually writing for the new Star Wars films for, of course, this new trilogy. And they're going to be inserting a lot of Legends material in order to really cater to the hardcore fans. So not only do I believe that this is a step in the right direction, I think that this is yet another sign that Disney and Lucasfilm are responding to the backlash and, of course, everything that went on with The Last Jedi, and they're just trying to satisfy as many fans as possible, because in my opinion, I think it's the hardcore fans, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's the hardcore fans that really purchase the tickets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times even, that go ahead and see these movies that really do build up the revenue and really do build up the box office results. And I think that was the big problem with Solo, is because a lot of the hardcore fans were just completely upset with Episode 8 that they didn't even bother to go ahead and see that movie. So with this, it seems as though that they really want this to cater to the hardcore fans as well. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.